right, so this is what you need to do if your mindset is holding you back. Fam, welcome back to the Entrepreneur Mindset series. Let's talk about limiting beliefs, all right? It's a big topic. It's something that everybody comes across in their journey, right? And it doesn't matter if it's just a personal growth journey, if it's an entrepreneurship journey, whatever that is. Anytime you get hit with challenges, anytime you get hit with adversity, the natural wiring or the natural tendency to fall back into that state of doubt, fear, and worry is very much automatic, right? As we're going through the process. So let's talk about limiting beliefs, how those happen, and how they hold you back, and they create this mindset that can be more of a foe than a friend when we're trying to get to that next level of our lives, right? And before I jump right into it, I want to ask you that if you like the content that I'm putting out there for you on a regular basis, please do me a big favor, subscribe, like, and share, and send this out to somebody who you might think benefits from it, from listening to the info or watching the videos, all right? So hook me up there. Now, going back to our regular programming, let's talk about mindset limitations. More importantly, self-imposed limitations. Believe it or not, most of the stuff that holds us back at a mindset level, right? At a psychological level, really comes from within. It's the stuff that we are creating within ourselves. It's those beliefs that we start to adopt as we go through the process of becoming, right? Becoming, whatever you want to becoming better, becoming worse. If you're standing still and you think you're standing still, you're really not. You're decaying, all right? If you're learning, if you're growing, then you're flourishing, right? But there's only two states of being. One is decay, the other one is growth. You can't stay still. You can't stay in the same spot. So that's very important to understand, especially when it comes to self-imposed limitations. Again, some of the biggest things that hold us back as we're trying to grow, as we're trying to become, right, are self-imposed limitations. Those are things that we just pick up along the way, right? We're wired with a certain capability to understand, to process, to care, to dream, to thrive. However, classical conditioning tells us, and classical conditioning is everything that we learn as we grow, as we start, coming from children to adulthood, we start experiencing different things, right? And those things, every single one of those things creates a memory, creates a segment in our brain, right? And all these compiled and put together, they make up our belief systems, right? So what happens? We start to have ideas that are not necessarily original. They are imposed because of our surroundings, our environment, our people, our friends, our situations, our work, anything that's around us, right? So now the crazy thing is that we take those as truth. We take those as, okay, that's the reality of life. And then if there's limitations in that bulk of things, we start to adopt those as well. And what happens, self-sabotage kicks in, right? If you're coming from, from humble beginnings, right? The wiring and the classical conditioning that you have adopted as you grow, it's going to be inevitably, more than likely, it's going to be somewhat limited. Meaning that you feel like you can only earn so much, you feel like you can scale in life so much, and then this mindset, right, becomes like this box, as opposed to this free flow state where you can dream and thrive. So what happens when behaviors like self-sabotage start to creep in? Because of your self-imposed limitations. Again, all this stuff is stuff that we start, to kind of compile along the way, and then we create experiences and beliefs and adopt them as truth, right? Like these truths are going to have a lot of things that are false to them, right? In terms of, for example, how far can I get in life? How much can I thrive? How much can I live, enjoy, and create? And what kind of wealth can I accumulate? If your mindset is fixated in being that box, that contained box, because of classical conditioning, you just haven't broken through the thresholds that allow you to thrive, it's going to set you back every single time, right? You're going to start looking for validation to your self-sabotaging ideas, right? That's where your self-imposed limitations come in. It's crazy, but most of the things that hold us back are not imposed by other people or situations or society. They're self-imposed. It's mindset. It's us dealing with us playing like almost like a tug of war with our own mindset, where we're trying to win the game of prosperity, and then the game of reality and past conditionings just bring us back, right? So it's crazy, but it really does happen that way. What happens? Your history creeps in, right? You start looking for validation within your history, and then you remember some shitty situations or times where you quote unquote failed at something, and that will create this self-imposed limitation within you, right? And that belief of an inability to thrive can creep in. Now, it's very important to understand that those are self-sabotaging behaviors, right? Those are self-sabotaging thoughts, and they are not true. They are just things that we learned along the way as we were trying to evolve and grow, right? And kind of stumble through life. Now, all these put together your belief system. Okay, you have a very particular belief system that's only yours, because nobody has had the conditioning that you've had. Nobody has walked the exact same path anywhere in the world, anywhere in life that you have. You've had particular situations that are just for yourself. They don't involve family. It doesn't matter how close you are to somebody else. Everybody runs their own path, right? That's what's so crazy about life. We're all in this, and a lot of times we can be very connected. However, nobody's walking your own shoes, right? Now, understanding that learned behaviors play a big role, and understanding what those learned behaviors do for us in terms of mindset, in terms of process, and in terms of thoughts, right? In terms of beliefs, is very important. So understand where your limitations are coming from. And if you're battling with a mindset that's kind of holding you back, say that you gain 2-3 steps forward, and then somehow, some way you find a way to validate yourself back to step one, that's a mindset issue. And more than likely, it's going to be a self-imposed limitation. It's going to be something that's coming from within, right? So think about your history. Think about your adopted beliefs. Think about any learned behaviors that are not necessarily yours, but there's, it's just stuff that you learn along the way as you've gone through the process. And then see how valid those are, right? Be a spectator of that space. Now, what can you do? If you do have these, sets of limiting beliefs and a mindset that's holding you back more than it's helping you at times, there's 2 things that you can do. Number 1 is have the awareness that we can't change the path that we're walking, okay? Your situations, your current state does not define you. It does not tell the world who you truly are, right? It's just a reflection of whatever history you've lived up to this point. But it doesn't mean that it has to be the same history going forward, right? So think about that. The space that you're in does not have to define the space that you're going to be in 2-3 years, right? So have that awareness. We have the ability to change. We have the ability to tap into the life that we want to create for ourselves. If we put in the work, if we put in the effort to grow, to become better, to be, right? And to really break away from those self-limitations, from those limiting beliefs that a lot of times, it's just bullshit that we've learned along the way and we've come to adopt as our own truths, but it's a fallacy, right? Because we're dynamic beings. We can create, we can grow ourselves to that new space. So think about that. That's number 1, creating that awareness, right? And then 2, feeding yourself new perspectives. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are not growing, if you're not learning, if you're not, pushing to something bigger, you're decaying, right? If you're not feeding yourself new perspectives on a regular basis, if you're not reading different books, if you're not tapping into new sources of information, seminars, courses, just people, masterminds, and forcing yourself to think bigger and planting seeds of just that bigger thing within you, you are decaying. If you're not going to be at a standstill. Why? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. It's as simple as that, right? But feed yourself new perspectives. Our mindset is also one thing that needs to be fed on a regular basis, right? So again, break into books, break into podcasts, stuff that just makes you think in a little bit of a different way, right? And stay open to the possibilities. Stay open to understanding that there's a lot of things that we don't know. We just don't know what we don't know, right? So changing the perspective a lot of times is really what pushes that last domino that helps you get over those limiting beliefs or self-imposed limitations that we may have. So 2 things, all right? Have the awareness that you can actually come in and change the path that you're in if you want to. And number 2, feed yourself new perspectives. Feed yourself with information, feed yourself with motivation, with drive, with inspiration. Hang out with people who are doing more stuff than you are. Look for those circles that can help you break out and support you as you're going through the process of learning and becoming, right? So it's very, very important. Self-imposed limitations are gonna be the biggest killer of dreams out there. And the crazy thing is that we're just battling ourselves here, right? So keep that in mind. If you feel your mindset is holding you back, ask yourself the question, have a true, honest conversation with yourself, and ask yourself if it's self-imposed limitations, and if it's stuff that you picked up along the way that's not necessarily true to the person who you are or the person that you're becoming, right? Then have the awareness that you can change things and tap into new perspectives so you can think bigger. Stay focused, you got this.